So help me welcome on the stage the member of the management board at LVRTC, or the Latvian Radio and Television Center. He's also the head of its crisis management team, Mr. Evijs Taube.
Good morning, everyone. My pleasure to be here and to tell about the physical layer. I believe most of the audience is about cybersecurity, which is, let's say, more virtual level. But today, the topic is about physical. Some say that the best cyber protection is the cut cable, but actually, it turns out that it's becoming a big crisis. And so today's topic is the crisis, and the crisis ends only when the change starts. Let me go through its story, and I hope we understood at the end in the same way. Shortly about the company. So I'm proud to work for a company which is celebrating 101st anniversary this year, almost as old as Latvia itself. Radio television still is important, but we have very nice, very loved business lines. Also, our customers like it, so we're really proud. Just two notes here. So we have the most visible asset, which is the TV tower in Riga. I believe everybody saw it yesterday because it was sunny yesterday, which was unusual. So today it's fog, non-visible, but the fact is the tower is still the highest in EU. We are proud having the tower 50 centimeters higher than Berlin Tower, so we're really proud. But what we will talk about today is the invisible asset, which is the undersea cable, which falls into the optical fiber. That's invisible, around 60 meters under the sea level, but very important. Our company mission, let's not go into details, but all in all, we are about the security integrity of Latvia ICT. We are about security and strengths, efficiency, security, keeping together the critical backbone, critical networks, critical everything for the Latvian state. And all together, if we do our job well, together with partners, with customers, with the community, then we are making sure that the Latvian state operates as it should. Now, let's get closer to the physics. So the pictures here, these are not marketing, real pictures, undersea cable, but altogether, the fact is that globally, around 95% of the data which is being transmitted everywhere is being transmitted over the undersea cables. Because that's the most efficient, it's not cheap way, but the most efficient way to connect the countries, to connect the continents, and to make the global data available where it is needed. The other fact is, this is the guesstimate of 2025 data, which is globally produced, stored, whatever. So it's around 180 zettabytes. To put it in perspective, 1 zettabyte is 1 billion terabytes. I cannot tell you now how many zeros it is, but somebody can take a calculation. So it's huge. Of course, 180 zettabytes, I believe some big part of it is being generated by AI, but anyway, data is data. So you can see here that undersea infrastructure cables are very important. What has changed during the last few years when the geopolitics changed big time in many places, not only in our region, but also Red Sea, Asia, pretty much many spots and globally. The rate of damage of undersea infrastructure has increased big time. 200 from the left, 200. This is the number, the average number now of the global undersea cable incidents globally. Another number, 3 days, every 3 days. If you are following me, you can make calculations, so it's 600. The fun fact is 600 days per year. The fun fact is there are 600 Martian days on Mars, not on the Earth. But this is the global statistics. Maybe something is wrong, but the middle numbers, this is more precise. In Baltic Sea, 11 cables during the last 15 months have been damaged. In a peacetime, of course it happened also, but without intention or sabotage. So the fishing nets, the trails, sometimes a bad seamanship, shit happens. Somebody drops the anchor, but unintentionally. But now the situation, of course, is different. There are sabotages, there are some intentions, and the rate is growing. So what does it mean? In our case, now you can see here a real picture. Of course, it's not with coordinates, but pretty close to reality. I believe some years ago, we wouldn't be so open with the community, how the networks work and how the diagrams and how the connections, show on the map. But we know very well that the enemy, the unfriendly countries know very well where we are connected, and the fact is we are not, we should be open to the public, to community, where we are, so we are together. And now here, you can see the undersea cable, which is connecting Latvia. As said, the only direct link to the Scandinavia undersea. This is the cable going through Gotland, Ventspils, Gotland, Stockholm. Of course, there are many more cables, let's call it from the Baltic Island. Sometimes you call it Baltic Island, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. There are many cables connecting to different directions, so no single point of failure, but still very important. The importance is maybe technical, because one thing in connections is the redundancy. The second thing is the capacity or the throughput, which is the number of terabytes you can get through. But very important is the latency. The latency, if this cable is damaged, increases 10 times because the signal has to go around the sea. We cannot fight the physics. So that is another factor. And until 2025, beginning of this year, you know, if everything works, it's pretty much taken for granted. Many think that it should work out always, but when something happens, then many eyes are opening. So, as a company, we were planning recovery plans. We are making different plans. We were planning, we had a tabletop exercises preparing for the worst. We've been doing it especially starting from 2022. So we've been prepared. And then 27th of January, it was Sunday early morning, the incident happened. Of course, we noticed immediately with our monitoring systems, within seconds, that something is wrong. Then we did the investigation, the usual drills, making sure that it's not the bad equipment, bad something. Pretty soon, within minutes, it became clear that it's a physical damage. So the plan. Many risk factors which should be considered, and this is exactly what we did, is redundancy. So shouldn't be any single point of failure. Another thing is, of course, nobody from the IT company is able to fix the especially undersea infrastructure itself. Those are special ships, special teams, special tools, which has to be in place, and continuity plans. Again, plans. Some say that plans are useless, but the planning is very important. This is actually what we learned as well. The planning is really critical, but the plans, when the real thing happens, the plan is adjusting. Now about the specialized ships or vessels. Globally, there are approximately 80 specialized vessels which are in a peacetime operating mainly as a cable installers. The same ships in most of the cases are used for the repairs. And as I said, the rate of the incidents is increasing last 2 years, but the specialized vessels cannot be built in the same rate. So there is already a shortage of the new installments because many ships are occupied with the repairs. This ship is our vessel, still not owned by our company. Nice Finnish friends. One of the team members is head of our fiber division, Romans. The fun fact is he wanted in a childhood to be a captain. So in a way, the dreams come through, as we see. You can see even inside the cable. So the first thing is to get this cable, to recover it, as we call it, from the seabed, which is again a tricky thing. You cannot do it when the weather is bad. You cannot do it if the wind is too high. In February, which was after the incident, we tried altogether 3 times to recover the cable. It is very difficult to catch it. You have to be a really lucky fisherman to catch it from these 60 meters deep with special tools, ropes, etc. Weather has to be right, the wind has to be right, waves, etc. And then if you're lucky, sometimes it takes days, sometimes weeks. But altogether we were, thanks again to the Finnish crew, we were able to recover the cable within short months of February. February had only 28 days, but we did it. You see also here the global average costs of the repair. It's pretty costly. We succeeded to do it in a more efficient way, but the costs are high. I talked about redundancy and continuity. This is a very simplified picture. I know that most of the audience is very technical, know about networks, but how we explain it to normal people is basically there are 2 kinds of data flows. One is the public internet, and thanks to the great design of the public internet from the beginning, the internet fixes itself. So the public users don't feel the impact, which was also the case in January, February. As we noticed, maybe the open question, somebody felt something from the public internet interruptions, maybe not. We were just investigating that, for example, there could be 2 examples that One could be the, again, because of the latency. Latency increased 10 times. If somebody was playing the Counter-Strike or some real-time game, somebody lost maybe something. Another example could be the stock exchange traders, where the milliseconds are important sometimes. Maybe somebody lost something, again, because of the latency. But otherwise, the redundancy is in place for the public internet. The other big part are the so-called enterprise connections, which are usually from the point A to point B, from one data center to another. And those have to have redundancy, must. At least 2 different physical lines. Sometimes 2 is too small, sometimes 3 or 4 are needed. All that was in place, also for us as an enterprise, also for our enterprise customers. So these are 2 parts. Everything was in place, planned, so it worked. Now, about the change. So the crisis, as we call it, don't end when we recover the cable, when we fix it. Very important are the lessons after the real thing. So it's adjustment of the plans. Again, about the resilience, maybe something needs to be adjusted in these resilience plans, redundancy, etc. Sharing lessons with partners. Partners, we call partners in different directions. So one big group of the partners are the other cable owners, which are in a peacetime competition because, of course, there is a commercial side competition between the cable owners. But as now we are in the same boat, every single cable can be damaged, so we learn from each other. There are communities in different platforms, so learning from each other is very important. National coordination. I mentioned Baltic Lake, NATO. Within NATO, it is more and more called Baltic Lake because there are surrounding countries. And now I have, sorry, excuse me, saving time. Time is saving. Now I would say just a small morning exercise. So let's go. Estonia. Eesti. Please raise up. All right, okay, I can see. Suomi. Finland. Hello. Svenska. Hi. Denmark. Hello. Germany. Deutschland. Yes. Polska. Yeah. Braļukai. Labas. And Latvieši? Nice. All right. 8? Did I miss? So 8 countries, 8 NATO countries around the Baltic Lake. Oh, what can I say? May the force be with you. So this is about community. As I said, some years ago we wouldn't open the map so publicly, but actually we are in the same boat. So really need support from the community. Like any information, coordination, whatever. As we are joking also in Latvia that we are small countries. Latvia is small, Estonia may be smaller in number. In ICT community we know each other. Sometimes we are competitors, sometimes we are partners, sometimes we are customers to each other, sometimes we are relatives even. So we need to be together also in this thing, and that's very important. more lessons. So I mentioned the nice Finnish crew, the Finnish team. After the repairs, we were really proud to to invite the Finnish crew from the vessel in Riga. So we had a really nice session to talk about the lessons, what we can prove in the future. We have standby agreement for several years, because in this kind of situation you cannot operate simply on a per incident to pay for the incident, to look for the vessel. So it has to be ready to go. So we're really proud, again, thanks to the Finns. Finnish community can maybe recognize some faces, that's okay, so please send regards. Very important communication part. Public communication, what we are talking to the people, to community. On one side, it's tricky. On one side, nobody wants to raise the panic, unneeded panic. But on the other side, especially ICT people understand what has happened, what are the technical issues. And we have to balance with communication. So globally, this is the fact. There have been more than 30 publications within first 48 hours. And another fact is that we as a company, we were communicating every 12 hours within the news lines, different channels to communicate what's happening, what we are doing. We have some lessons from the communication side as well, but let's say we are improving each time, which is good. I mentioned NATO a couple of slides back. This is another thing which is really nice, and this is really impressive because this system called Mainsail, this is the name, you can search for it. There are part of public information, but big part is the NATO secret. But the fact is that this surveillance system, and nice thing is that the Baltic Lake, Baltic Sea, is the first test bed for such a system. It has to be production ready within few months, and the principle is that this correlated system is taking the sensor information from different sources, and one big source as a sensor is the communication cables using the DAS sensors, or so-called distributed acoustic sensing. There are many technologies which can be used for sensor data, and this Mainsail system will correlate all the possible information from any geographical or whatever places, and will provide on one screen the correlated right information of the situation, including all the normal ships, including all the shadow fleets, including everything, which is a great thing. So we are part of it. Again, NATO community. And lastly, again, a real thing. This thing is laying 60 meters under the sea level, and this is the end of the story at the moment. So the crisis ends when the change happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Evijs, for opening up to us today and showing unique shots over there. Just one question to wrap it up. Taking into consideration the geopolitical situation, how does public-private partnership with operators like LVRTC and national security forces play out in investigating and attributing such attacks? What's the team play, I guess? That's the question.
Yeah, as I said, this cooperation is growing big time. This is the right way to go. As said, we need to be more open to the public, to community. Of course, I'm not saying that the security procedures shouldn't be in place. That's still very important. But the communication, right communication, close to real time with the right people, this is really critical.
Well, let the force be with you. May the force be with you. And the next time you get in a boat, either to fish, cables, or fish, some socks to keep your feet warm. Thank you, Evijs. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you.